feet up, talk about general concepts and really how to get started with investing. And the point of the talk is not to give you guys a laundry list, but really just to get the conversation started and to give you to spark the curiosity on how to really invest. So to get started, so this talk is probably one of the three streams that I think of financial literacy. The first is how do you make money, right? So how can you maximize your skills and assets, your human assets, to increase your revenue and multiple revenue streams? That's number one. Number two is not as important as how you spend money. And I'm not really talking about like you have a bad day shopping at God knows what and spend $500 on socks at Lululemon. I'm really talking more like your mortgage rates, your interest rates, stuff like that, right? Paying a fair number. Can you lower that? Honestly, it's not the biggest deal. If it's for a couple of years, a little bit high on your mortgage or your loans or whatever, it's a blip. However, the third one is what we're going to talk about today, is investing. Now, the problem is this is very important because critically, you've had to start it when you're 20, 21 for your retirement. You guys, probably were not taught in school. So that is a very big issue. So you guys had to do it. You guys really weren't told how, or that you actually have to do it. So hopefully today we'll shed some light and get the conversation started on the criticality of, getting it done. So actually before I start, a little bit about me, so you guys know who you guys are dealing with. My name is John. I'm actually not in finance, but with investment and finance throughout my whole life, thanks to my parents. They taught me everything I know. And more importantly, they sparked my curiosity when I was a really young kid. So the older I got, the more invested I got into it, and took the pitch to a whole new level, right? That's a little bit, so a disclaimer. So just ground rules, super safe space. Ask any questions here. I asked to see them to the end because I'm gonna go through a ton of content. I just want to get through it. So if possible, to the end. Again, like I said, just to spark curiosity and just, keep in mind, whatever I say, I'm not here to scare you. You didn't start yesterday, start today. Okay, so we're gonna go through three topics. What should you invest in instead of buying a PS5? Everyone wants a PS5, I really don't know why. But like what you should be doing instead of investing in one and selling on Kijiji for $400 more. What are your investment options? And the last one I'm going to touch upon it is insurance. Because you make money, you do your best that you can, you invest all it's you can lose it all in a second. So how do you protect yourself? So what is investing? So basically investing about it is buying assets at a price for the hopes that later on you sell them at a higher price and you make the delta. That is really. So we listed here a few things like a car, a house, stocks in a company that really do that, right? You buy them, they're assets. However, things like a PS5 and furniture, just because you see it at Urban Planner or Urban Barn or whatever it is, it looks amazing. Investment. It's not going to go up in value. Armani suits look fantastic. They don't go up in value. But rental properties do. So that's also. Let's see. Now, one reason what we're going to talk about is why you should invest is inflation. Has anyone heard of inflation at all? Does anyone know what it is? Really? Just give it a shot. Yeah, exactly, right? So yeah, it naturally prices on goods every year go up, right? Now we go to economics of why it's good, but a small every year is good for the economy, right? However, a large increase is horrible. Now, the biggest thing you have to know is it doesn't matter how much money you have. What really matters is what can you do with your money. So if every year the prices of goods and services by, let's say, 2%, which is a healthy number, if your money is not growing at that rate, year over year, you're actually losing value. You're losing because in 1970, a quarter used to buy a coffee. Now in 2019, you need, $1.60 to buy a coffee almost, right? So your quarter now is useless. It used to buy a coffee. Now it's worth so much more or less that it's not really as powerful as it used to be. Leaving all your money in a savings account checking account, not growing, it's actually losing value. But now you're literally at a war every single day without you guys knowing it by not investing. And investing is really one of the only strategies you have to beat that. And that also comes to with at work at your salaries. Every year you should get I think increase is what you call it, or a small bump every year at work. Now, if that's not above inflation, you're actually making less money last year. So 2019, it was a 1.95% in Canada, 2% in the US, and that's healthy. Now, 2020, to give you an idea, it's about 5% because of COVID. So it's pretty bad. And then the last thing I want to talk about is Pablo Escobar's conundrum. Do you guys know who Pablo Escobar is or no? If you guys don't know him, he was a very, very good businessman to an extent. Tons of money in a very illegal way. So he couldn't actually put in the banking system. He couldn't put the money in banks because he was selling drugs. So he had in storehouses, literally houses in the basement, like stacks and stacks of money. Now what happened was rats would eat the money. He would lose millions of dollars every year to rats. And that's the same thing with inflation. Your money is literally eroding away year over year, right? So that is one reason to invest. The second thing why you need to invest is, have you guys heard of compound interest at all or no? You guys, how it works? Okay, so do you guys know what interest is at all? Okay, perfect. So for you guys, for just simplicity's sake, we're just going to define interest as the cost of borrowing. Now, back in the day, when interest was first conceptualized, it was okay. I will eat back plus a small premium for borrowing the money. Then they got shrewd and they're like, oh, hold up, we can just compound it and make it. And that's what happened. So that's one of the biggest things about credit card that's super dangerous if you just pay the minimum balance. Because if you don't pay that, you could literally be paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but your debt never goes down. So there are two kinds of interest. There's a simple interest when they first started out. And then compound interest is, what is very, very common right now. And, it's it's how banks make money or how credit companies make money. So I just did a small little calculation on top. To borrow $5,000 at 24% a year, which please don't ever do that, for 1 year, how much would you pay in the end? And you paid nothing. The first month, you start at $5,000. Next month is $5,100, and so on and so forth. Then you end up and $6,300 back for borrowing $5,000. So you ended up paying an extra 20-something%, and it just snowballed on you. Now, the good thing is, against you, if you're paying compound interest, it absolutely sucks. And it's a very, very easy way to get trapped. Because if you pay less than $100 the first month in payments, you've actually paid nothing at all towards your debt. The good thing about compound interest is if you use it and know how to harness it and make it, it's actually a very, very lucrative tool. And means when I say make it, I don't mean charging your friend 24% for borrowing whatever, right? Don't charge your friends compound interest. Bad thing to do. And this is the one that I want to talk about, wealth generation. So remember how I said that it was a snowball effect? That's what wealth generation is. You invest your money, it grows, and the returns keep giving you more returns and more returns. So the longer you have money in the market, the more the snowball, the bigger the snowball. So the longer you have it and the bigger your initial investment is, are the two factors of how big your snowball is going to be. So this is actually the point of the whole talk. Remember how, I don't know if you guys were here in the beginning, I said the biggest problem you guys have is you guys have to start saving. You guys have to start investing very young, but you guys aren't really armed with how to. And if you invest really young, it can become a burden, as the older you get. So the biggest thing is for retirement. How much do you guys think you need per year to retire? Any ideas? Retire at 65. Your kids are gone. Your house is paid off. How much money do you think you need a year? Give me a number. 50K a year. Perfect number. That's exactly the number I wanted. Yeah, cost of life. But I just needed a number because I want to tell you how to get to that number. So the S&P 500, which ignore what I just said, we'll talk about that later, returns an average of 8% a year. So basically, if I have $1 million, I get, my $1 million on average should make me $80,000. Fantastic. Now, the good thing is, if let's say I put $1 million in the market, it makes me an average of $80,000. If I take every year only, let's say, $50,000, that money will never run out. Think of a little Bible story like Elijah with the oil that never runs out. Same idea. You can literally make $50,000 a year that never runs out with investment. Yeah. I'll never run out. It's because the S&P, where you can invest your money returns 8%. So that's $80,000 a year on $1 million investment, right? But if you pull on $50,000, you theoretically will never run out of money. Because that's all, yeah, if that's all you really need to live on, why not, right? Oh, yeah. Average returns, yes. And that's the reason why I only say take $50,000 out a year, because some years the S&P will return 5%. Like last year returned 15%, I believe, something like that. So yeah, average, for sure. That's why. Now, why? Now, $1 million. That sounds like a lot of money, right? Yes, so great question. This is why I brought you. Okay. No, this is not Oprah here. It's not Oprah. So we want $1 million. That's right, $1 million. And we're starting with nothing. Oh, you guys can't see this. Of course you guys can't see. Can't you see? Cool. So now the question is, this is all games, but how do you get that initial $1 million, right? The good thing about it is, like I said, it's not snowball, right? You want that snowball. Because the best thing about you guys is, like me, you guys have many, many more years ahead of you than behind you. So you guys if the earlier you start, the smaller you guys have to put away every month to, get the snowball going to get that $1 million. So if we just do a bit of math, so give me an age. Start. Say 30. When you guys here? Well, no. No, this is not Oprah. So 25 years to grow? 25, so let's say you start at 25 and you want, let's say, retire. Fair? Let's say 40 years of work? Okay, so 25 years to grow. And we're going to just do 7.96. Yeah. So in 25 years, oh, sorry, this is wrong. This is weird. And you start with $1 in your pocket. You need to put $1,100 away a month. Now, 25 years, honestly, most people start working at 20 and retire at 60. So it's actually 45 years is a bit more realistic. And that's what I was going for. But this is actually great. This is actually a great segue. So there's literally no perfect time to start investing and putting money away. There really is not. If you start at 20, you can say, dude, John, I just graduated. I have so many OSAPs to whatever. I can't afford to graduate. I can't afford to put money for retirement. But as soon as I pay off my student loans, I'll invest. Cool. So you wait 2-3 years and you're like, dude, I went to a baseball game. I saw this girl. She was like hating. So I knew it was true love. And I bought her a ring right on the spot. So as soon as I pay off that ring and the wedding, because she wants some chairs, honeymoon, I promise you I'll start investing. I'm like, cool, okay, cool. And then after the honeymoon, he's like, dude, this girl so much. I just want kids. And then you have kids. Next thing you know, you're 50. You want to retire at 5. So you have 15 years enough to invest. And then realistically, I just do a simple calculation. And I say, do you have $3K a month extra to spend? To invest? Actually wrong. Because on average, you want to make $50,000 a person. So 100K. So on average, idealistically. So actually that's wrong. Per person, you want to make 50K. So you're going to say $3K a month. Even if it's one person, $1,500 a month. If you have $1,500 extra a month in your budget, you can talk. But yeah, so the $200 a month become $3,000 a month for you to hit that target. And it's just simple math. Or not simple. Calculator. So, sure, $1,000. Sure, $10,000. It doesn't really make a dent at all. Right? So, really, the biggest factor you guys have is you guys right now are early on in your careers. You guys don't, have as much money as you will be later on, but you guys have much more time. Can you guys afford $100 a month? Or can you guys afford, when you're 40, 50, $3,000 a month? And that's including your house, your car, whatever else money you spend money on. It's really, yeah. So a lot of people are actually in this problem because back in the day, in my parents' generation, retirement used to be a thing where you work for a company, you take, company, you give them 40 years, they'll take care of you after. That's not the case anymore. Most people don't work for companies for 40 years. Secondly, the pensions have changed. So the pensions I was talking about were like, the government pensions, where you put your time in, and then you get your money, plus your wife gets your money, a guaranteed income, plus maybe a kid or two. I don't know how it works, but it was a guaranteed income for life, like a lottery. Now it's not like that anymore, right? So you might say, okay, fine, $220 a month, that is a lot. I'm kind of show of hands here because I know some people. Does anyone here work for corporate? Like corporations or whatnot? Perfect. If you work for corporate, you have the matching program, right? that will easily make the $200 a month, as long as you sign up for it. Yep. Yeah, okay. So the matching program is what we call DC. So if you work called DC RRSP, it's called direct contribution. So basically up to a certain percentage point, so let's say 4% or whatever it is, they'll match. So dollar for dollar you put into an RRSP, they will match. You put $10,000 a year into it, the company will put another $10,000 a year with it in your RRSP. That's really what it is. So as long as you put in money, they match it for you. So it's basically, say, a 10% increase in your salary because they're matching it for you. Does that make sense? Okay. Yeah, that's the cap. It's a cap of 4% of your total salary. So if, let's say, you make $4,000 of that per year, they'll match. Anything above that you put in, they're not going to match. So it's always, it's always advised to just put the 4%. And we'll talk about that later. No, CP is different. CP is Canadian Pension Plan. Okay, so also, you're sort of not totally screwed because the government every year takes, or every paycheck takes a bit of money for something called Canadian Pension Plan. Now, I have no idea how much the payout is. I believe $50,000 a year. 5% of what? 5% of your income up to a maximum of. I think, but the benefit is how much, Dad? $1,000 a month. Yeah. So the government has a that you guys also are forced to pay into. So you guys aren't totally screwed. And you'll see it on your pay stubs called CPP. Again, if you guys are pharmacists or contractors, whatever you guys bill, you won't have it. But if you're not, you will have something called a CPP on your pay stub. And you pay 5% of your salary into it, and the government should give you $1,000 a month or so, right? But again, $1,000 a month you're supposed to live off. You really can't. So to the CPP, to the government, yes. So you pay a portion, they pay a portion on the CPP, but then this is a different program on top called DC. It's called the DC match, direct contribution matching. It's you have to sign up for it, and it's a benefit, kind of like your health benefit your employer offers as well, or should offer. Yeah. 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 So it's something your corporation sets up. Yeah, so CP is government managed that you're forced to pay into. This one is voluntary. It's managed by your corporation or enterprise you work for. And then there's also one that is around for teachers and for crown corporations. It's the old school pension where you put in how much per year, and when you retire, it's like the average of your 4 best years. Times a percentage of how many years you've worked, and you're guaranteed that for life. That's the old school pension. That's one of them. The new one is kind of the corporate, where they match, they put in the market for you based on a few questions, and you hope to God you make enough money. And then the last one is CPP, which is the government. If you are an employee or not, or getting a T4, you're forced to pay into. Cool? So you have 3 kinds of pensions. So, really, the point of this slide is there's really no good time to start investing. The best time is now. There's always something about life, whether it's Christmas presents, whether you're getting married, whether you student loan debt or whatever. There's no good time. So you just got to start today. That's really about it. So we talked about sort of briefly why you need to invest. Now, how do you do it? Because this is all things I've sold you on it. You guys are like, okay, fine, I have to do this, but how? So we're going to talk about how to invest, like what options you have, where you put them. Like, you buy all these assets, you buy all these stocks, you buy all these bonds. Where do you put them? How do you buy them? And honestly, the last option where you just don't care, you just don't want to listen to me, you just want someone to do it for you and move on with life and play Candy Crush, which I think is fantastic. I don't like Candy Crush that much, but you get the point. Okay, cool. So, stocks. Can anyone explain stocks to me without looking at the slide? Sure. Malcolm. Sorry? Cool. All right, awesome. So stocks. Can anyone explain stocks to me? Right. Why? Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So the stock conceptually was companies needed money to innovate, to grow, to make new products. So what did they do? They kind of did the capital version of the oldest profession and sold a bit of themselves. And that's really it. So they put themselves, a small piece of themselves to you in exchange for your investment, which then, you guys, in hopes that you guys could sell a piece later on at a higher price as the company does better, and so on and so forth. So basically, they're saying, give me your money now, and then hopefully you profit my innovation and my returns for, that's it, right? That's what stocks are. And so you buy and sell these stocks in the market. So you probably maybe heard these terms, around, called the TSX, the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange. And basically, think of them as malls. So they're just places where companies sell themselves. That's the stock market. Very, very simple. So, and then you'll see them on TV and whatever, those boards with the stock going up and down like crazy. That's the price of the stock. And like anything in life, price is determined by supply or demand. The price, Microsoft trades at, somebody's willing to pay that price, or somebody's selling at that price, asking that price. That is it. Microsoft has really I want the price to be $200 today. Can't really do that, except at IPO. And this is very important. The stock market, historically over 130 years, has gone up to the right. The very important part here is the stock market, not the stock. So Apple can crash tomorrow. Apple is not guaranteed to go up. And like anything in life is guaranteed except death, frankly. So the stock market is not guaranteed to go up anyways. But honestly, COVID, lots of people in power will sacrifice their own citizens for the stock market. So it's not philosophy, but not a bad place to invest. So yeah, so that's it, right? So that's really the stock market comes in. And so that's what stocks. Stocks are the company. Bonds are the opposite. So bonds, you don't care about the company. You're like, cool, I'm gonna give you money, plus a bit of interest, and that's it. So bonds is like you're loaning the company or the government money. That's the only difference. Stocks, the company, you're not guaranteed any returns. You're guaranteed you can lose all your money. While bonds, you just loan them money. You're guaranteed your money after or whatever it is with a bit of extra on top. That's what bonds are, right? Now, yeah, but bonds, the returns aren't that good. Bonds safer. You're guaranteed. Everybody declares bankruptcy, you're guaranteed your money. or most of it at least. Returns. Bonds, the returns are very low. It's a safer investment, but there's very low returns compared to stocks. Stable. Yes, stable and steady. You need growth, right? You need to make that $1 million, guys. You guys don't have a lot of money, and you need to make that $1 million. You need the high growth. While it's a very stable but guaranteed income. So the older you get, you can't afford risks. Because imagine if you're 55 or 60 and the market tanks. You lose everything, and you have 5 years to rebuild it all. It's a very big risk compared to bonds, right? So the biggest problem with stocks is, yep. It depends. I know them. I think, ask my dad, he probably know them. Corporate bonds are usually higher than inflation, right? But do you know what they usually are? Usually, like, what would, like, yeah, nothing crazy. So it's safer because you're guaranteed returns, right? Stocks, you're not guaranteed returns. And so here comes the issue. You'll see on everything in the world, and I read, and maybe just me because of the news I'm surrounded by, is you'll see someone's like predicting the next these six stocks are going to triple in 2021, or like all these analysts from all these banks saying, Tesla to $5,000 a share. Things like that. But can anyone predict the future? No. Answer is no. Project. Fair enough. %100. Okay. So, and that brings up a good point. You guys want, okay, fine, you're like, John, I buy stocks, what do I buy stocks in? Okay, what company should I invest in? All right. I love my iPhone, I'll buy Apple stock. Awesome. My computer, my ThinkPad is Lenovo. It has never died. I'll buy Lenovo. It will never die. It's great. Lululemon somehow charges for sweatpants, and everyone's buying them. So Lululemon must be going up. So you're like, okay, fine. I'm going to buy these 3 stocks. So you go in the morning, 9 a.m., you buy Apple, Lululemon, and Lenovo, right? 3 stocks. Apple, their iPhones have been found out to destroy the environment, and every government's banning them. Apple goes to 0. Lululemon, the sweatpants are actually made from seals are endangered species, can't make them anymore. That's why they never stain. So stock goes to 0. And the last one, Lenovo, their computers are indestructible. So amazing, but no one's buying new ones, so stock goes to 0. You can't predict these headlines. Back 7 years ago, I used to be invested a lot in oil. It was great back in our parents' generation. It was the best. It will never die. Everything needs oil. Fantastic. Yeah, until Saudi Arabia decides to flood the market. One, you wake up in the morning, you just hear Saudi Arabia decides to flood the market, every oil company tanks. Price of oil is so dirt cheap, everything tanks. Well, if you lose a lot of money, right? Another one is chip shortages. So no one could have predicted the or bond rates going up. So tech was killing it last year. Come February, tech tanks. I have never seen it in a week, and it happens, right? So that's the problem. No company is guaranteed to always go up, but the market is. And if you guys want to pick stocks, by all means, I do too, go for it. If you guys don't know what to buy, or just want to buy everything, there's something called an ETF. Has anyone heard of that at all or no? You have. Okay, so what is it? Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's the whole point. It's a stock of stocks. Yep. Yes, exactly. We'll talk about mutual funds after. So basically, it's a stock of stocks. You can find enough coffee, they find more creative ways to make money. So that's what ETFs are. So basically, instead of buying, Apple individually and Lululemon individually and all of funds, you buy a stock that has all these stocks in it, and basically, as Apple goes, the stock moves not as much, right? So because it's a pool, sorry. No. Somebody makes some ETF issuer makes the mix for you, right? And there's a million ETFs to choose for, and there's a million buckets to pick from. Some pick, some ETFs follow specific markets, so you can buy the whole market, basically. Some ETFs follow like meme stocks, so like GameStop and whatever. So if you want to invest in all, you can. A bunch of people make these these bundles of stocks that you can buy, right? And yeah, and they're just stocks that you just buy and you invest in everything, right? So the good thing about that is if Apple tanks, who cares? Because it's a small portion of that basket. But if Apple skyrockets, you're not going to make as big of a return as if you invested in Apple directly. So it insulates you from the crazy up and down. It's a smooth curve, hopefully up, right? Unless you buy like meme stocks, which is a problem. So slides have a lot more content than what I'm saying because these slides are meant so I could just give them out and you guys could read them and do your own kind of work on them later. Have you guys heard of mutual funds or no? Fantastic. Every person at the bank has tried to sell you a mutual fund because the guys at the banks are actually sales. And I work in sales, we're not the nicest people. But mutual funds, yes. So mutual funds are the same idea, but instead of being just a bundle that someone put together and moved on with their lives, mutual funds are actively managed. So you have literally a team of dudes like trying buying and selling and all behind the scenes to try to beat the market or beat the average, which is the S&P, but you pay for it. Much higher fee. Mutual funds have a lot more fees than ETFs, and their performance aren't guaranteed to be as good or even better than ETFs, right? So that's like the old school way of doing it. And this was more or less like ETFs has been around since the 70s, but trading has not, or buying in the stock market has only been exclusively for the rich for a long time. As technology evolved and people invented new tools to invest in the markets, you or anyone here, as long as you're can buy and sell stocks, can invest in the stock market. It's open to everybody, it's accessible, and it gets more accessible every single day. It used to be exclusive to the rich. You need to have to go to the bank to buy stocks and go to the bank to manage it. Now with technology, you don't need that. So this was one of the old school products of the past mutual funds. And yep. Great question. We'll talk about RSPs in a bit. But yes, hold on to that question. But yeah, so, and they're just about the bank. So again, it's just a very that was made at a time where the stock market was not accessible to people, more or less, and ETFs were not as famous. Now everyone can do ETFs. But if you want to buy, every bank will sell you one. Don't you worry. No, nothing is guaranteed. These returns that you're seeing, these are all buying stocks in the back end. So mutual funds are made out of stocks and bonds. ETFs are made of stocks and bonds as well. Nothing is guaranteed. Returns aren't guaranteed. ETFs? Yeah. Yes, they're charging you more for that benefit of managing for you. That's more or less one of the biggest differences. Yep. Yeah. 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 But. Yeah. So 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 sorry, I really skipped over this and right into my slides. ETFs, the fees are 0.2%. Mutual funds are 2%. And you can say, I don't care. They're 0.2%, 2% a year. And you're like, John, I don't care. I only have his 10K in there. What the heck is, the difference between 20 bucks or 200 bucks? But the point is, it's not the 10K you have today. It's the $1 million you have that you were aiming for. 20K, $2,000 a year is a huge difference, right? Don't buy, $20,000 a month could buy you guys, could rent you guys a condo in Toronto. You're paying for someone's condo in Toronto when you can have it, right? That's the difference, right? And also, there are more fees in mutual funds too. When they buy in the back end, when they buy and sell stocks, they charge you more fees as well. So it's a lot of hidden fees in mutual funds as well. So, and yeah, it's same as ETFs. Performance is not guaranteed. So, where can you buy these stocks? Put them. You really can't just put. Okay. So, yeah. Oh, maybe that's it. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Good. Thank you. So mutual fund. So, okay, you want to buy stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds, but where do you put them? Really, right? You cannot just print them out and put them. That's not how it works. You need to put them in an account, right? So one of the accounts that we have is the TFSA. Pretty sure most people have heard of TFSA here. Do you guys know how it works? Okay. So TFSA started in 2009, where basically anything in TFSA, because we are, in Canada, all the money we make legally has to be taxed, right? Anyways, and unless you have a good accountant, and then pay less taxes. But it has to be taxed, right? So any money you make in the stock market as well. Now, any money in TFSA is not taxed. And you're going to say, this is the greatest idea ever. I'm just going to put everything in TFSA. Can't. There are limits. So limits are basically every year the government says you can put this much money in your TFSA. So in 2020, I think you put an extra $6,000 and it's like a snowball. The room accumulates, right? So if you're 18 in 2000 and you never used it, your limit is around $70,000 Canadian you could put in, right? Inside the TFSA, if you bought stop in January and the TFSA now is $1 million, the government doesn't really care, right? It's what you put into it is the limit. Now, just to be safe, do not, yep. Yes, you do. So as long as you stay in that room, you're fine. If you go over, no one's really gonna stop you, but the government just gotta tax you more. So basically, 2% of your overcontribution, and then all gains you've made on that overcontribution as well. So, not a good thing if you overcontribute. Do not assume because, like you said, Lisa, you will get taxed if you go over. Do not assume room. Literally go to mycra.com, log in, and you'll see your limit. Don't exceed it. Limits, play within it. Yes. Right. So TFSA, you could put as much as you want into it, but how about when you take things out, right? So now we know the limit we put in, but when you there is also a limit as well, right? Or there's also a bit of math that they do. So if let's say I put $70,000 in, or $69,500, $20K, I have $49,000 of room left. Awesome, great. If I pull the $20,000 out, I have full room back, right? No. You get that room back at the beginning of next year. So whatever you put in your TFSA, whatever you take out, you have to put back in. That's the only hiccup with the TFSA. So if let's say I put in $69,000, maybe it's $49K. What? Okay, yeah, 49,000. Yeah, and I can put in next year. That's about it, right? 20K plus the new limit till next year. That's the TFSA. I have to fix that example. I don't know what I was doing here, right? And this is a side note. If you in a TFSA, you could hold Canadian and USD, depending on the institution it's with. The dividends have a 30% withholding tax. You're still paying that because the US government does not recognize the TFSA. It means don't worry about it. If you do, you know. Questions? Yes. So basically, out of the U.S. dividends, the U.S. government will withhold 30%. You can claim 15% of that on your taxes, on your TFSA. So, okay. Yes, and I forgot to mention this part. So remember how you've noticed everyone and their mom. If you guys were at all in the pandemic on TikTok and you see people buying and selling stocks every single day, the government says the TFSA is for investment and not for day trading. So if you day, they say they could go inside and tax you on everything you made there, right? The government has not specified what it is. Basically, if you get on their radar, you're screwed. Don't get on their radar. Don't buy and sell stocks 25 times a day in your TFSA, please. You can put you on a radar, and you guys were screwed. That's basically it, right? That's the only disclaimer with the TFSA. Yeah. As long as, so the rule of thumb I've heard, no, because you didn't pay the tax on the gains. The rule of thumb is you're $1 million in your TFSA, you're fine. Anything above, you're not. Yep. Yeah. It's capital gains. Yeah. So they actually consider day trading as a source of income, so they have a right to come after you for all the gains. It's considered a yeah. But no, yeah. So rule of thumb is, I've heard unofficially, as long as it's under $1 million, they don't care about you. Stay under $1 million, you're chilling. Okay. RSP, and this is Amir, this is to your point. So what is an RRSP? You probably heard this, but it's for your retirement, and this is where that $1 million that you want to build goes in there, right? So so the government is very, very clever. They want you to save for retirement, and the way they kind of force you to do things, say if you do this, you pay less taxes. And I was like, oh, wicked! I'll do that. I pay less taxes, I win. So the government, inadvertently is, forcing you to do something that they want you to do, save for retirement. So the way it works with retirement is, in your RSP, is every penny you pay RSP is taken off your income. So if I make $100,000 a year, my tax bill is $23,000 that year, right? Now, if I put in $10,000 of my own money into the RSP this year, the government is going to say, John, you actually made $90,000. So we're only going to charge you taxes as if you made $90,000. So my tax bill is only $20K. Wicked. I save taxes, right? Fantastic. However, the government does not want you to take money out of your RSP until you don't have an income anymore. So they treat it as income. Basically, you put money, if you take money out of the RSP, if let's say I make $100,000, I take $10,000 of my RSP, they're like, John, you actually $110,000 and you'll be taxed accordingly. So I'd pay $28,000 a year instead of $23,000. How it works, right? So basically, most of the money pulled out, I pay in taxes because I went to a higher tax bracket, I think. They're crossed over. So the point of an RSP is for you to put money into it, grow it, and then when you have no income, let's say when you retire, you pull money out of it, and because you have zero income, you pull $60K, you're paying very little taxes. That is the ideal point of an RRSP, right? So, Amir, to your point, when RRSP? An RRSP, do you guys know how the tax system works in Canada? The tax brackets? So you never, the more money you make, you'll never get taxed when you make more money that you're actually losing money. You get taxed on the next dollar. So first 40,000 bracket, the next 40 is 60, the next $20,000 you make, next is in a different tax bracket, and so on and so forth. So remember how I said the more money you put in into the RRSP, the lower your taxes are. If you're on a low tax bracket or you just started out and you're 20 years old and you put $20K in your RRSP, because the RRSP room is precious, it's limited as well. We'll talk about that after. You're basically saving a little bit of taxes. But if let's say you're making $200K a year, every dollar you put in, you're saving 50 cents on the dollar in taxes. So basically the point of an RSP, to max it out, it's actually more recommended to put to it or max it out when you're older. So when you're 40s and your 50s, because that's theoretically when you make your most money in your career. No, not when you start, because the benefit to you, the tax savings is very little compared to when you're older. So when you're younger, put the $200 a month into it, grow it in the S&P, and leave it as is. Put like $30K a year into it. You need the money now, one thing, when you're young, so TFSA, you max out your TFSA first, because when you take it out, there's no tax penalty. And two, that the higher the income, the more money you'll save in taxes by putting it in TFSA. So when you're near the highest tax bracket or in the highest tax bracket. And so TFSA, like the RRSP, you get some room to put like the TFSA, you get some room every year to put in your RRSP. So basically every year, 18% of your income every year, up to a maximum of $26,000 a year of room. That's how it's calculated. And do not guess how much room you have in RRSP. There are penalties for overcontribution. Please go to my CRA, find out your limits, play with them. Usual stuff. Yep. Anytime you want, but you'll get taxed. Ideally, you want to take it out when you have zero income, when you're retired. Or, good question, I forgot, it's here, home buyers. First time you buy a house, you're allowed to take a loan from your RRSP, $35K, but you have 15 years to pay it back. So, equal payment. 0%. Yeah, it's a loan from you. So like you pay, 0%. But you have to basically, you have 15 years payments. So that's like $2,200 a year. If you miss payments, that's considered a withdrawal from your RSP, and don't miss your payments if you borrow it. Yeah. Yeah. It's an account. In it. You could put ETFs, you could buy GameStop, you could just put it in a savings account. You would do whatever you want with it. It's just an account. So it's how you invest the money in the account is what matters. Because you could put an RSP in a savings account. No one's stopping you. But at 0.1%, you're losing. You could inside, not taxed. So TFSA and RSP inside is not taxed. Canada, there's only 2 tax shelters legally. So it's your house that you live in, your primary residence. That's not taxed. TFSA is not taxed. RSP, you're deferring taxes because as soon as you pull that money out, you're getting taxed, right? So that's called a tax deferred account. No. That's RE education. Does this make sense to you guys? Do you guys have any questions about this at all or no? For your children, yes. You can't take anything out of you could, if your parents make an RESP for you, you can use it. But not for your own. No. And you don't want to do that anyways. For retirement, they can borrow for their studies. Questions, comments, concerns? You could set it up. I honestly don't set it up for your children. I think when they're born. Yeah, but before you could have children, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And the government also gives you some credits too. Yeah. Any questions? Education. Yeah. Rent a kid. That's definitely what we need. Yeah. Honestly, that's definitely a new tax program you could find. I think it's. Did anyone have a question on this side? Am I going too fast for you guys? I could slow down and go back and explain a few things. It's a small group. Okay. All right. Maxing out. Maxing out. You have to. Yeah. You should. You should definitely start investing young, definitely for your retirement. What I'm saying is, do not max out your RRSP, but definitely put money younger when you're younger, because the younger you are, or the more for your investment to grow, the smaller your contributions are. Like we just saw, you start from $200 a month all the way up to $3,000 a month if you start very young. So, yes, great question. You could have 1 million TFSAs. They all have to add up to the same limit. So you can have a TFSA in, Scotiabank, one in TD, one in RBC, for any you want, but altogether the combined contributions all have to add to the same limit. That's why my CRA is fantastic. It does it all. RSP, yeah. RSP, yeah, same thing. Cool? All right. So, how do you you buy stocks? Does anyone know how to buy stocks? Okay, huh? So, no, this is not how you buy stocks, Kijiji. Okay, but funny. Oh God. Okay, how do you guys buy stocks? Where? Brokerage. Yeah, IBKR, Interactive Brokers, great one. Yeah. So exactly. So like I said, if you want to buy Tesla stock, please transfer Elon Musk money. He will not accept it, and that's not how you buy stocks. You buy something called. Remember I said in the stock. So in the stock market, basically like a mall of stocks, that you can't just go to the mall and shop and just like I want this. You can't do that. So you need a brokerage. Is back in the old days, you used to go to the bank and like, I want, or you used to see the old movies, the guy calls his broker on the phone. It's like, yo, buy me like 5,000 Tesla stocks like at today's price. And that's how it's done. Same idea, but now it's all online. It's a platform. So a brokerage is the guy who goes for a small fee, making money, everyone needs to make money here, and buys the shares for you, and takes your money and buys shares. That's it. It's the middle. And in the brokerage, you could buy a whole lot of things too. You could buy stocks, you could buy bonds, you could buy metals as well. So if you want, you could buy silver, or platinum or whatever. And you just put your money into, you make a brokerage account, you put your money. So you can make an RSP brokerage account, a TFSC brokerage account, whatever. You put your money, you send them your money, and then you use that money to buy stocks, right? One thing to note, if you want to buy US stocks or stocks that trade in the New York Stock Exchange, they have to be US dollars. And then Canadian stocks, TSX, Canadian dollars. So the thing is with making money in the stocks, markets or whatever, you're making money. So everybody wants a piece of your returns. So that's why there's mutual funds, which are more expensive. You want to stick to ETFs. Same with brokerages. There are ones with your bank, like TD and RBC and CIBC or whatever. Much higher fee, right? And then there's something called a low-cost brokerage. So again, very little fees, because you guys want to make money. So don't pay too much in fees. You want to make less fees. So it'll be Questrade, Interactive Brokers, and Ameritrade. And there's a link here. All the brokerages, compares them all, and they all have different strengths and benefits. Pick the one that works for you. The biggest thing is you want the one with the lowest fees, and that's it, really, right? But they all do the exact same stuff, more or less. Any questions about this? So the brokerages won't do anything with your portfolio. They'll charge you fees because they'll give you more analytics or analyst information or whatever. You could honestly find that yourselves easily if you Google it. So I personally don't use any of the tools. Like I have access to some of them. I don't use them once, honestly, because they're trying to predict the future. Yeah. Swim, yeah. 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 I have no experience with that. I think the fees are $10 a trade, right? And 95. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, yeah, you do. Yeah, for sure. So different ones have different features. There's Questrade that everyone uses. It's the cheapest one of the cheapest ones. My favorite brokers, IBKR. Yeah. 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 And just a heads up with interactive brokers, it's an international brokerage. They don't tailor to Canadians, so they don't deal with Canadians. So as such, they don't transfer a lot. So you cannot transfer between registered and unregistered accounts positions. A heads up with that one. Okay. That was my biggest drawback. I couldn't use it. Uh, yeah, America's in the States. Yeah. Yeah, so you could build your own programs to trade on them. Yeah. Yeah, no, Canadians are very, very unlimited. And they also have Schwab too in the US. It's very good as well. Um, question? Yeah. Yeah. Let's give options for a little bit because it's more complicated. Yep. APIs. So application programmable interfaces. It's a computer term. So you do you do calls, APIs. No. Keep you asking something else. Okay, so basically a brokerage is just the middleman to buy and sell stocks or bonds in your accounts. That's all you have to do. You put money into it, you buy stocks, you sell stocks, you move on with your life. Okay, this is the fun one. 9 out of 10 people here don't care. They're like, I just want money. Give me money. I want the $1 million, and I want to move on with my life. I don't want to do any of this. I don't care about brokerage. I don't care about stocks. I don't care about I don't care about mutual funds. John, I want to give you money. I'll move on with my life and have my avocado toast every day. Fantastic. And so a concept called the Robo-advisors. And basically, they play on the fact that, remember how mutual funds have a team of people, buying and selling stocks. Robo-advisors is the digital version of that. Is the 21st century version of that, where it's algorithms buying and selling ETFs for returns. That's it. So this is your Wealth Simple. You guys heard of Wealth Simple? Seen the apps? Wealth Simple. Robo-advisor. Basically, it's like a savings account. You give it money, you move on with your life, and you open an account with them. You answer a few questions, say, I'm comfortable with this risk level. They're like, cool, awesome. You give them money, you move on with your life. Their fees are in the middle between an ETF and a mutual fund. They're not the cheapest because they charge 0.5% over whatever the ETF charges. So there is that little extra buffer on top. Much cheaper than mutual funds still. So kind of the middleman of the world. You just give money. So every month you can just set up, monthly contributions or whatever, put it in there, move on with your life. It's active by an algorithm. And the back end is not stocks, it's ETFs. Yeah, that's it. So Wealth Simple charges 0.5%. And then in the back end, Simple, it manages your money on ETFs. So the ETFs charge you 0.2 each. So you pay that fee as well. That's it. And you'll never see them on a bank statement. The fees are taken off your returns. So your annual returns, you'll say you made 5%. You actually made 5.5. You took 0.5% of that return. So that's why you guys want to reduce that MER or that fee. Because like I said, when you hit the $1 million, the fee actually makes a huge difference, like 20K compared to 2K. Sorry? This is a management fee. So you don't do anything yourself. With Robo-advisor, you open an account, you answer a bunch of questions, and then they'll tell you, cool, just transfer me money, and I'll do everything for you. And that's it. And there's no buying or selling fee. There's nothing here for you to do. It'll do everything in the back end for you, and it'll just charge you a bit of the gains. That's it. So that's if you're doing it yourself. So if you're doing it yourself, you need a brokerage account to buy and sell. So you want to buy bonds, stocks, or ETFs. That's where you need a brokerage account. Robo-advisor does it for you. You don't have to do anything. So this is the easiest one. You just open an account, answer a few questions, that's it. I have not tried Wealthsimple, to be honest with you. I had an account. Yeah, so I haven't tried it. So I know the concept. That's about it. Sorry? It's primitive? Yeah, I honestly don't have any experience with it. I heard the interface is beautiful. That's about it. I don't really use it. I do my own stuff. No, algorithm. It's an algorithm managing your money. So they have a bunch of programmers that kind of came an algorithm to manage your money. The other option is just a one fund ETF. Remember I said an ETF is a stock of a stock? You can just buy the whole market. And so you'll see things like VGRO or VEQT or stuff like that. It's just basically a robo-advisor, an ETF, more or less. That's the concept of it. And that's it, an ETF of ETFs. Like I said, you give finance bros enough creative power, they'll find ways to make more money. It's an ETF of ETFs. So remember how I said an ETF is a grouping of stocks? This is a ETFs. Cool. All right, so a lot of resources I put up here. The first one, a lot of the concepts I've seen, Wealthsimple has a masterclass. It's 30 minutes. It'll teach you all of this in a unique way. So definitely watch it. It's hilarious. There is a subreddit called Personal Finance Canada, which I learned a lot of stuff. Side note, very conservative in the sense that like, don't buy anything, buy a Corolla, run it to the ground. Live your lives, people. It's a balance. You know. And ETFs, so Vanguard's a big issuer, so use a Vanguard ETF. Aside for that, who showed up? He's not listening, is he? Doing well. And if you know they had the ETF, I said it's a grouping of stocks. If you go to Morningstar and type in your ETF, you can actually see what's in the ETF as well. So that's actually a good one to use. The last thing is, remember how I said if you want to buy American stocks, you have to use American money. So if you want bucks with your blue money, you actually can't. You have to convert it to US dollars. If you convert it, like I said, remember how you want to pay, everyone wants to get paid on your return. If you convert it through the brokerage of the banks, the fees are really high. So there's a process called Norbert Gambit. It's just a way of, transferring your money into US dollars, very, very cheap, but it takes a bit of effort. So there's a link here as well to do the process. If you want to convert your money to US dollars for very cheap, there's a way of doing it as well. Okay. So rules of investment. The first thing is, as we saw, start early, right? You guys can definitely, or whatever. It's much more easier to put $200 away a month than $3,000 away in the month. It just really is. It's much easier to do that. Please start early. Start now. Definitely start investing. Don't pick stocks, as we said. You don't know what's going to happen. You can't predict the future. There's nothing really guaranteed in life. Apple is not guaranteed to hit $10,000 a share. It's not guaranteed to hit zero. But you don't know, right? So please don't pick stocks. Buy the whole market. Like I said, nothing in life is guaranteed other than that. But we saw in the pandemic that there are governments that are willing to sacrifice their people for the stock market. If I invest in that, by all means, invest in the market. Keep your costs low. You guys are making money. The more you invest, the more money you'll make, the more mouths that want to feed off your returns. So please use the lowest cost lowest cost methods. Because look, no matter whatever they sell you on, no one can predict the future. They really can't. Why? Doesn't mean anything. So why you could pay more money for not guaranteed results? Keep your costs. Diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. So don't put all your money in Apple stock or Tesla stock or whatever, or GameStop, because like I said, it's not guaranteed. It could tank. Tune out the noise. Stay the course. Very easy to say to hear one day on the news, GameStop has went up 500%. You throw your money into it, thanks. And that's very common. Stick to your plan. Even if it tanks, it's Christmas. You buy more. Stick to your plan, your investments, diversify, just keep going. It is not like we saw the graphs, they're not a straight arrow. It's not all the way up. There are hills and valleys. Just stick to the plan, keep going. You'll get the average returns. And the last is for everybody here that does not want to do this, you really can't afford not to do this. So, Christine, your example was $50K a month for retirement. $50K a year for your retirement. So okay, fine. When do you want to retire? Well, not 30. Okay, fine. Be realistic. No. 30, 35? 45, okay. And when do you expect to live? 46? No, but like realistically. So let's say 90. So you have 45 years you want to live, and you want to live at $50,000 a year. That's what? That's $100,000 every 2 years, 45 years. So that's what? $2.2 million. If you don't invest at all, can you save up from your paychecks $2.2 million? Okay, cool. Have a little exercise. I love this calculator. If you do $2.2 million, to God, my math is right. Wrong. You say 45 years. Of course it's not. Initial investment is always one. Like, can you afford $480? So what's easier to save? $2.2 million straight from your paycheck? $480 a month. Exactly. So you really can't afford. Yeah, well, 45 years, right? So because Christine said she wants to retire at 45 and live till 90. That's 45 years. Work. I'm sorry. How old are you right now? I know. I'm asking personal questions. I know it's great. 17 years. Good call. Okay. I know. I'm so sorry. I thought about it after. I know. I'm so sorry. Just give me. Okay. So if you did 17 years of work, $5K a month, which is easier than saving, $50K, whatever it is, $2.2 million straight, right? It's much more doable. Thank you for the correction. So yes, so the fees are actually, I'm gonna get away because the things start beeping. The fees are actually out of the percentage of the return, right? So you'll never see a 2% fee, but on the back end, your investment, let's say, made 10%. See on your statement, you only made an 8% return. The fees are always, so whatever returns you see on whatever brochure or whatever, always included taken out. Cool. But yeah, so it's a much more, so with investments, more easier to reach your goals, much more doable, let's say. This is still a crazy hill to climb, but it's a much more attainable than without. So you guys, frankly, cannot afford not to invest. Unless you hit the lottery, then that's a different. Okay, cool. Last but not least, insurance. This is the most morbid topic or morbid part of the talk, but we have to talk about it. Let's say you do everything right. Let's say you started investing yesterday, you put on your $120 a month in your RSP, you bought the S&P 500, everything is going well. And Father Peshoy, we could use him as an example, is driving, down Roddick, and his phone goes off, and it's Nermeen, asking him, did he lock the church up? He looks for a split second because the screen, and he hits it's Markham and Lamborghini. Now, Father P is at fault. He doesn't have insurance. So Father P has to pay for the Lamborghini, and this is Markham, it's a Huracan. It's a $300,000 car. Plus whatever, damages he sustained to him. Plus, whatever damages he did to the street and all the fun stuff, and any, medical bills for himself, or he has to pay for it, it's his fault. So let's say a split second, Father P owes $500,000. Whatever $200 a month you put in your RSP and invest, all of that went out the window in a split second. But that's what insurance is there for. Insurance is there for things happen in life. So insurance is there to back us up. So I could afford the $100 a month or $200 a month for car insurance. I cannot afford the $500,000 to buy a guy a new Lamborghini. That is what insurance is. Right? And that's the most common concept, at least for me, when we think about insurance, is car insurance. But there's also so many kinds of insurance as well. The most important one that I think on the list is disability. Like I said, there are three kind of, topics for financial literacy. One of them is how you make money. That stream is gone because right now we're young. That is probably our only stream of income. You don't have an income anymore, right? And that's what disability insurance. If let's say you are 30, it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon, we're still in COVID, we're in lockdowns, you go for a run, a car hits you. You can't work for a year now. You survive, but you can't work for a year. And let's just go a little wrench here. You have a family that depends on you. You can't work. No one's going to pay you if you can't work. Like, whatever company you work for is going to say, well, just because we like you, we're not going to give you free money. And your family depends on you. Well, that's, it's a big issue. Insurance. It covers a portion of your income while you can't work. And life insurance, and this is the biggest concept as well. A lot of people spend a lot of money on life insurance and not enough on disability insurance. Unless you pull some elaborate scam and fake your death, you should never see a penny from your life insurance, but you should see a penny from your disability insurance. So, take that as it may. And of course, child which should be baked into your credit cards and your house insurance as well. It goes on fire, it replaces that, right? You guys can afford, or should be able to afford, a small amount every month to ensure the worst situation of your life, you are covered. You don't have to worry about how can I protect my income, how can I protect my assets, how can I protect my family. You are covered. You cannot afford not to have insurance, and then the disaster happened, like a screen lights up, and you smash it, and you're out $500,000. Because no matter whatever I just taught you, I could not make you $500,000 in a split second. But you could easily lose. So, take that as it may. Mira? Okay. Brokerage insurance is the insurance that you pay so that if you can't pay your mortgage, the broker gets his money. Under 20%, you're forced to get it. So that's about it. So if you put more than 20%, you don't really need to get it because you're basically paying to make sure that the bank gets if you don't pay. No. Mortgage insurance is if you can't pay your mortgage, they pay the. Oh, I don't know the details. Yeah. So CMHC and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, that's also mandatory for a certain percentage of a certain down payment percentage. The next week's topics to go into. Um, I avoid it as much as possible, personally, if I can. Yep. Any other questions? So yeah, so the five or so that I picked that I think you guys should definitely look into. And that's it. So that's it. Any questions, comments, concerns? Oh, good. My pleasure. Yeah. Yep. 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 And so that goes along of stock picking. By all means, I have investment clubs that I'm a part of as well. I've not invested in those companies myself personally because I've seen it really go flat. It's more of a gamble. So, but by all means, we can definitely talk about stocks. I don't know, putting a group, I don't know how much people are interested here, but we can definitely talk about it, me and you, sidebar. Yeah, for sure. Yep. I work in tech. Yeah, I work in tech. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, by all means. Well, let's talk after. I mean, maybe I could show you a few things. Oh, sure. Um, I don't really have a Christian view. Personally, me, there are things I don't invest in. So there are, you can make right now, not right now, but like brink of a war, which seems to happen all the time. You can make a lot of money on defense stocks. I don't invest in that. There are ways you could buy water. You don't invest in that either. So there are ways, there are industries based on your morals where you decide whether it's worth it, the money, but and your moral views to balance it out. And for that, I can't impose that on you, your views. But yeah, you could by all means select, choose to invest in and what not to invest in. Can't, that's all you, man.
I really like what you mentioned was that we can't afford not to invest. And if we want to relate that into a parable, for instance, is a parable of the talents, and where he gave one talent, another person 3 talents, and last person 5 talents. And they've all the last two people, though the 5 talents and 10 talents, has invested their talents, what they were given, and then grew that. Regardless of how it grew, they were still able to please their master in that case. The one person that had that one talent didn't and just got it back up again, it or probably eroded in some sort of way in under the ground when he put it there. But also, they didn't invest it, so he displeased his master in that case. So to your point, yes, we can't afford not to, and it's something that even God wants us to do and wants us to live in prosperity. Do you want to?
Thank you. No, you said it perfectly.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I never thought of that, but good call. Does that answer your question? Keep going.
Something I personally struggle. I don't need a mic. Sorry.
But no, they can't hear.
Something I personally struggle with, I guess, is labor. Some people talk about like capital returns, using money to make more money. Not that it's necessarily unethical. I'm just trying to like find that like Christian fine point, like struggle with personally.
I don't know. I don't have an answer to that. I think you could only make so much money, and you need so much money, and you don't matter. So that's where it comes. And honestly, from a social study, you're investing. It advances society rather. If you don't invest, if the concept of investment did not, we as society cannot. So from a social responsibility, investments.
How about like precious metals or something like that?
Like gold is used a lot in manufacturing. Same with diamonds, used in a lot in manufacturing. Like I said, like as a society, investment is a way for us to invest in technologies, invest in innovations, and to incentivize society to grow and become more prosperous. So investment is basically, you can spin it as a ability for you to invest and make society better.
And also we are talking about
Mom.
if we're talking about you are guys that you don't want to work and you want the money work for you. You will not just dollar here and it will grow by picking soda. And you work to make it grow. But there is a balance. I'm saying I'm working 8 hours to my work or for the trademark and 1 hour for my Bible and 1 hour for my family. There is a balance in life. I don't say that's no. We are Christian. We are not looking for money and richness. No, we need the life need. You need to raise your family. Your kids have the best education. You need to contribute in your church. You need money, but the balance, how to make it, and what you're spending on. If you find somebody working 8 or 10 hours at his company and return home 5 hours staying in his room, closing on himself, care about my family, I need to grow this money. No, you are out of border town. And your aim of life is the money. But if my job giving me 50,000 and my expenses will be 70 and 80 soon or 100, I need that 20 extra. So I need to stay that 1 hour or 2 hour in another job. Back home in Egypt, he working in company in the morning and maybe at the evening or something. It is another job beside. But make a balance that you have it not over your life, spiritual life, your family life, your sports, to go to gym to keep your health. The balance in your life is more important also.
Good. So I think we basically good.
But I don't need I think okay. Very answer. Money.
Yeah. I think kind of wrap it up is just basically invest in a way you advance society, not exploit or destroy society. That's where you draw the balance, in my opinion. Draw the line.
He said choosing the spouse. So I like the need. I want to keep them.
There's, and that's fair. Oh, it is? Cool. Oh, I had no idea. Yeah, sure. Okay, so Buna, wrap it up for us.
Yeah, thank you so much, John, and thank you everyone for your contribution. Yes. Should we give him a big hand? Thank you so much. I think just maybe a final word to share with you is our view of finances in general, or view of money. And would say that it's not money that is the root of all evil, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. And there's a real fine line between enslaved to money and using money for our benefit or making money work for us. There are many examples from scriptures of people who were wealthy and they used their wealth to bless others. Like Abraham, for example, he was very generous and he was wealthy, and he saw when he received that he was extremely generous with them, and he offered them a lot of food and slaughtered a calf. And would say that when Abraham, that we should be very generous with strangers, because in some cases people are angels and they didn't know. And he was speaking about Abraham, the story of Abraham. And the scriptures would say that, in the Old Testament, tithing, but in the New Testament, the scripture would say that God loves a cheerful giver. So there are people who work for money. Indeed, the scriptures said that those who eat have to work. We have to work. We have to make sure that we are engaging in the economy and growing it around us. It's important that the God-given talents that we have, that utilize in whichever career that we're able to. I think it's also important, the whole concept of insurance and investments, these are relatively new. But we can see, as we saw the parable of the talents, that God wants us to invest. He said, at least you should have taken that talent to the money changers, and you would have collected some interest on it, not just hide it in the ground. And the talent is amount of gold, 5 ounces of gold. That's a talent. Now we're using that word talent to say, I'm talented in music or art or etc. But talent would be a certain amount of gold that is given for investment's sake. So just to conclude that conversation, I want to say that a big part is understanding the responsibilities of financing, and it is a God-given gift to us. We work hard for it. Use it for our benefit. Just kind of a futuristic view of finances. I've seen finances break up homes, is misused. People start to, speak about my money and your money, and what we get to spend and all of these things. So definitely money could be used for our blessing, to enjoy life, to travel and to live comfortably, and to be generous with other people who are less fortunate. But like anything in life, like water and fire, and we saw a big storm today. Water is good, but it pours, it rains, it pours, it damages buildings, and you have hurricanes and stuff like that. So money is the same thing. It's a God-given gift. So I think the last word I want to say here is, you live to make money. You don't make money to live. Sorry, did I say that opposite? Yeah. So money. What? Live to make money? No. Make money to live. Make money to live. Don't live. Money is not going to make you who you are. Okay? It's your values, your morals, your faith, your principles in life that's going to make you who you are. It's not how much you have in the bank or what car you drive. So God give us all wisdom in dealing with finances and money. And great presentation again. Thank you.
Don't mind. If that's all you've gone out of the presentation, I definitely don't mind. Don't invest. All right, let's pray it up. All right. You want to pray it up? Okay.
And finally, O Lord, hear us as we pray with all thanksgiving. Our Father in heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not in temptations, but deliver us from the evil one. In Christ Jesus our Lord, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. The love of God the Father, begotten Son, our Lord, God and Savior, Jesus Christ, communion and gift of the Holy Spirit be with you. Go in peace. May the peace of the Lord be with you. God bless you all.